Please click the subscribe button and the notification icon. It will help us a lot. Hi, this is Rodrigo from Brain Freak Studio, and this is the Creative Hustler Show. Today, interview is going to be very different from the past interviews that we have done so far because recently I came across something that I think is going to disrupt in the next 10 to 15 years the whole creative industry. And I do believe to the bone that the people who do not get with the program with this now are going to be at massive disadvantage in the future. So someone that I have here is really deep into this world, has been for a couple of years now, and he is the host of the Non-Fungible Podcast, which is of the NFP with DKleine. So without any further ado, welcome DKleine.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So, there is a lot to unpack over here.
It's a lot of fun though. It's very fascinating. I never get tired of it.
Definitely. And to be honest, I'm a geek. I'm a computer
I
geek.
think we all are in these circles.
Yeah. And this, like all the concepts that has to do with crypto are really hard to pick. Like it's really hard to understand in the beginning. And I know a lot of people who are very smart, very intelligent, who are also geeks as well, who are very techy, and even they have problems understanding that. So this again, I'm trying to find a way how to explain this. So the thing that I got in touch recently was what is called NFTs, or non-fungible token. Now, so far, every artist that I know, what they have been doing is like asking for private commissions. Somebody pays money to them to do a specific piece of art, and they give it away, and they can either give away the physical piece or just the digital print, and that's how it's been working so far. But this concept of NFT completely blew my mind, because the idea of being able to put like a contract or a technology that says like, okay, this digital piece that you have created, like, is an original. Maybe you can make some copies of them, or maybe you just want to make one of them for the person who hired you, and you can sell it to that person, and you can put in the contract there that you can get paid if that person sells it to another, so you can get like a commission, and even give a commission to other people who are involved into the project and so on. So how would you explain what NFTs are for people who are just beginning artists who do not know about this?
Wow. Okay. If you go back in time, anything digital file, you can copy it. You can make a perfect copy of any file that's stored on, I don't know, Google Docs, or like a Word document, or an image file, right? And so that's always been a problem for anyone who wanted to make something that's rare or unique in a digital format, because you could just make a copy of it. And that's what the blockchain enables, because of the fact that you can give it a unique identification that's signed by an artist. The artist, uses their digital wallet on the blockchain. Usually it's on Ethereum, but Tezos is popular as well. In fact, there are NFTs on Bitcoin as well, and a lot of other blockchains. But the point being that it enables you to take a single digital file that you've created and to be able to sign it with that digital address that identifies it as me. And that's what makes it unique, is that it cannot then, you could make a copy of it, but it wouldn't be the original, right? So just like, a famous artwork, say, I don't know, the Mona Lisa, there's only one of it. You could make a perfect replica that people couldn't tell the difference, but there would still only be one that would actually be the original, that would have value, right? And because of that, it brings that value to digital anything digital, right? And that's the thing, we were talking about art, but it extends pretty much to anything that can be digitized. So it's going to be massive. I mean, it's already grown tremendously, but there's so many possibilities for it.
And something that really strikes me is the base of the smart contract. So can you go a little bit deep into explaining what a smart contract is for those who don't know?
Basically, a smart contract is usually it's just a set of commands that are saying if this happens, then this happens, right? On a very simplistic level, right? And so in the case of NFTs, it's something where if a person puts forward this much Ethereum to purchase a given NFT that I'm selling at that price, once that money is there, it then releases that NFT to their wallet, and it's done automatically. It's not done through someone somewhere giving it permission, right? So it's permissionless. It's basically the contract is executed automatically through the programming when the conditions are met, rather than waiting upon somebody to approve those conditions. And so then again, that extends to many possibilities, extends to legal possibilities, extends to any kind of ownership of property where you can transfer property without having to, say, for example, go to a lawyer.
And something that I have seen recently that is popping up a lot is that people are creating collections. And for those who do not know, like what usually happens right now in the NFT world is that somebody wants to create a piece of art and they have like a picture and they create like a very variants of the same picture. So each picture is unique. So they start selling it. But the people who are collecting these pictures can receive like some economic compensation, you can say, from the sales and businesses that are going on. So how does that happen? Because sometimes I see that they say that you're going to get like 2.5% of commission from the sales.
I see what you're saying. Well, there's a few platforms that do that, like Charged Particles is one of them, where essentially what you're doing is you're intermingling decentralized financing with NFTs to the extent that what you can do essentially is bundle these interest-bearing assets into an NFT so that then if you hold that NFT, you can then gain value by holding it that's actually being paid through a decentralized finance contract. So rather than, again, it's another case of taking out the middleman, right, and doing financing without a bank, right? Normally you'd have to go to a bank, borrow your money, or put your money into something which would then bear interest. And in this case, instead, the smart contract is doing that with the money that's within that tokenized asset. And so then you're paid interest for that NFT holding that. That gets into some interesting stuff where, I'm not a legal expert, but when it gets into stuff like securities and the SEC and all that stuff, I think there's a lot of interesting implications there, legally speaking, that maybe haven't fully been considered, because you are getting into a space that's normally quite heavily regulated. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes over the next few years.
Definitely. And what blows my mind is that I'm trying when this scene came to fruition, like when it was born. Well, it was like 2014, 2015. The idea
NFTs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some old ones, because back in the day, when it first was being experimented with, it was on Bitcoin itself. And of course, Bitcoin's been around since 2010 or so, 2011. I feel bad that I don't remember the exact date. But anyway, I really should know the date. NFTs themselves didn't really spring into popularity, though, until you're talking like CryptoKitties, like in 2017 or so with Ethereum. And of course, that's part of what made Ethereum explode in popularity. It's also part of what made Ethereum struggle to keep up with demand. But it was one of the first kind of major use cases for Ethereum and smart contracts.
I see. And when did you got into this?
Me personally,
Yes.
I started exploring crypto in 2016, and I spent a lot of my spare time, basically any time that I wasn't working, I was looking into this stuff. And I started learning about it. And I spent a good year just kind of learning, following it before I really delved in. And then it was probably, I want to say mid 2017 that I started writing as a hobby. I would just write about everything I was learning about crypto. And from that, I eventually did start writing for some marketing companies. And more recently, I wrote for Coin Telegraph. But keep in mind, this was after years of spending pretty much every spare moment I had just being obsessed with the stuff. So
Oh man, now I get an idea of how much I will have to go deep into this. I can.
well, and I'm
read
not a
fast.
programmer. I'm not a coder. I'm just fascinated with the possibilities, with the possible, all the ways it can be applied, right? Art is the thing that really captured me with it, though, right?
I
That was the thing that
understand you
really caught
because
my interest.
the feeling that I'm getting right now with NFTs, crypto games, and all that, the metaverse, how they are calling it now, is like
Mm-hmm.
the same feeling I had when I first stumbled into forums way back when the internet
Into,
was
sorry, what?
into forums.
Four rooms.
Uh,
Explain.
Pretty much there was like these websites where like anime forums or
Oh, forums. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Okay. I got that.
sorry.
Okay.
So when I got into this and everybody just have their avatar and
Mm-hmm.
everybody was anonymous, but we started getting together and pretty much got I got some friendships from those times that I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
still hold. People that I
So is
met
that
over
on like
there.
Reddit or stuff like that, or?
No, I think Reddit didn't even exist back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
social media didn't exist.
Right.
Uh, it was way before Facebook. and,
Okay.
but yeah, like we're talking like the first versions of the internet, right? Uh, and obviously stumbled into torrents, and I was seeing like the internet like this free space to pretty much
Mm-hmm.
explore, and it was really exciting to kind of think how this will evolve. And now obviously the internet has become corporatized and everything
Mm-hmm.
is being censored and sanitized. And now like this whole crypto scene is coming up and pretty much is starting to mix with all the other aspects of technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to get that same feeling of, man, like things are getting exciting again.
Well, and it's kind of like when the internet was new, you couldn't imagine how big it would become, right? Like, I don't know. I remember, being like, why would you email somebody? Why not just send them a letter or phone them? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I remember thinking that. I remember looking at Facebook and going, what is the point of this? Like, I'll just call up my friend instead. But you can't anticipate all the possibilities. I think it will transform the internet completely.
Yes, the same. The thing I'm thinking right now is that what the use that we are seeing with NFTs right now and uh, how pretty much we perceive it
Hmm.
is the same kind of feeling people got when they saw websites back in the 97 or something like that. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
it
Well,
was
and the
just how it
technology
manifested.
is, yeah, the technology is still kind of early too, right? Like if you look at how Ethereum works, I mean, for the most part, it's kind of slow. There's issues, there's problems, there's barriers. It's confusing, right? Like, think back to, when you got on the internet in the early 2000s. It was a pain in the ass,
Yes.
right? And, you're like, no, no, don't pick up the phone, right? And then it's like, oh no, I lost my connection, whatever. Right? So it's a similar thing, I think, that we're experiencing is it's got a long ways to go.
Yeah, but the thing is that when I got the feeling was that I was just getting into NFTs, like trying to understand
Mm.
how people sold art, how it was working out with this, and then I got into like I stumbled into crypto games and the idea let's say for example, I was a huge fan of Diablo when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea of, man, what if that the gold that I make in Diablo, I could actually use it in real life.
Yeah,
And
right?
and not only that, like each coin is worth more than the dollar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
And on top of
Yeah.
that, that the swords and armor and all the items that I get in the game, like this will become NFTs that I can sell in real life too,
Mm-hmm.
for or people who want to collect them because they were like, I don't know, first editions or something like that, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or people who want just better equipment and things like that. It was
Are you into the Wax blockchain at all?
not yet, no, no.
Okay. The Wax blockchain, there's some really interesting uh, assets that you can get on there. One of the bigger games on there is called Hodl God. And with that, you can collect parts and then use them in the game. So it's pretty wild. It's like an Unreal Engine, like shooter type style game, but you're running around with your actual assets that you own. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is, and the thing is that I'm trying to think, like there was a point where I was going to school to college, and I'm a
Hmm.
dropout by the way, but at the time there was some monetary issues that I had, and I remember being like really stressful
Hmm.
that I wasn't able to get like a part-time job back then because in my country they didn't have that,
Hmm.
and even if they had like uh, the class hours also were like all mixed, and it
Mm.
was completely incompatible with having a job. And I was really frustrated, like why can't they just like put everything in the morning or everything in the afternoon
Sure.
or in the night? Like it should be easy. Why is this complicated? And now that thinking, like if I had that option of being able to play a video game for 2 3 hours a day and get enough money to pay my studies, that would have changed a lot of things back then.
Totally. Well, and isn't it funny when you think that is actually a possible way somebody could make an income now? I mean, that used to be completely ridiculous. There's no way you could do that. Right? Like me, for example, I'm doing this zombie thing. I make zombies. I've made zombies for, I've always loved doodling zombies. And it was one of my more popular things when I started doing NFTs. Right? And like literally just drawing cartoon zombies and I'm laughing at them and I'm selling them and people are buying them and I'm making an income from something that's really just fun, right? Like it's not hard work. It's something I just enjoy doing. Well, the hard work is the time. It does take a lot of time and you're constantly, like you mentioned, promoting yourself and you're having to market yourself. That's probably more the work side of it, I would say, is, you've got to make all those connections. Because I mean, you
Yeah,
can be an amazing artist, but if people don't know you at all, they're probably not going to buy your art.
definitely. And that's comes into another part of the NFT world that I'm seeing, is that
Hmm.
the projects that are making the most uh, out of it, like the best performing ones, are the ones who are hard into marketing and to creating communities. Like I'm
Hmm.
seeing, for example, the one that just came uh, recently, Mechaverse. They have their own Discord. They are very active in social media. They were before the launch, and now people are going insane with it. And I'm seeing like the communities that are being created around these projects, and they are very united. And that is, I think that is going to be like a very powerful filter, because obviously, well, there is always someone who just wants to be an opportunist and thinks that they are just going to put whatever into the store, and that people will buy it because they see some of the art. And let's be
Hmm.
honest, man, a lot of the art over there is like, yeah, I've seen,
It's
I've been
the
around enough artists to know that this piece is not worth what it says it's worth. But
yeah. I know,
still,
but on the flip side, I've seen amazing artists with phenomenal work, and it's still not easy to sell sometimes, right? Like I think there's this image, and it comes from these stories, people read about people making $69 million on a work of art, and they're like, what? I can do that, and I don't need to make $1 million. I'll just make 100,000. It's like, that's still, give me a break. That's not realistic, right? But I think a lot of people, especially when it first kind of surged in popularity, a lot of people just thought, oh, I'll just hop on the bandwagon and make a killing, and there were a lot of people who were disappointed when it turned out that it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, and I've seen some projects that people would, again, they would see, for example, CryptoPunks. They will, when I show that to other people, it's like, what? People are paying that much for this kind of shit? Like, yeah, but they are not seeing like the community that is behind CryptoPunks and also the historic significance.
The history, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the history in that case, right? And that's, again, the huge advantage with blockchain is that you do have that history built into it where you can look back on that and know when it was made, who made it, right? So
yeah, it's when I saw the CryptoPunks the first time, and I saw the first thing that came to my mind, this is like the Marilyns that Andy Warhol did, where he had like this all the Marilyns in place, and they just were different kind of colors,
just different variants, right?
Yeah. So that's the collections in NFTs. Like, that makes sense to me. Or when I saw an art that was like, why are people paying for this? Then I get again the reference of Andy Warhol, where he did a painting of a Campbell's
yes, Campbell's soup can, yes.
Yeah, and it was like, and now how's that worth like millions?
Totally.
And it's the same thing. And this is the thing that people obviously won't see at the beginning, like, why is this piece is being worth so much? And then it's because maybe something happened, like the CryptoPunks probably were the first ones who made it that big in the eyes of many people. So that has
there are other ones before it, but it was one of the first to popularize it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So and that history that it is a piece of art that was one of the first ones that made it public.
Yeah.
That is always going to hold value when it comes to history.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's when I started to get it. Like, oh man, like I think even Hollywood is going to like. This technology is going to mess up Hollywood really bad.
Yeah. No, no, Hollywood's going to make a lot of money off of it, but they do got to get on board. It's just a matter of time. They'll have to adapt to it. It's like I was talking with the chief marketing officer of DeviantArt the other day. And of course, DeviantArt's been around 20 years now, 21 years. And I was asking her, I actually just released the episode. I was asking her, so what's DeviantArt's strategy with blockchain? I mean, you have to be thinking about this, and they're looking at it. She couldn't really say what their strategy was. She couldn't. I kept trying to kind of prod and go, so what do you think, Ethereum or Tezos or, and she was like, well, I can't say, blah, blah. But they are looking at it, and it is, you can't just stand there and watch everything go past, or you're going to turn into like Blockbuster versus Netflix. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to get left in the past if they don't embrace it somehow, I feel.
Yeah, I think, well, it's possible that Hollywood will implement it. I'm not 100% sure because I've been into that world, and I see like they have this prejudice against crypto because they believe like every crypto is about mining, and they are messing up the environment, and Hollywood
that's just a temporary problem.
Yeah, Hollywood has become really polarized when it comes to politics and into that kind of thing. And
there's lots of blockchains that aren't environmental.
Yeah, exactly. I
was
just talking like to somebody, and he was like, "No, NFT, I don't like it because the climate change and all that." And it's like, Ethereum 2.0 is coming, and that's going to knock away like all mining from like one day to the next.
And even layer 2 right now, you can go on Ethereum solutions that run on Ethereum, but they're running on separate layers,
for example,
right? And they don't have anywhere near any kind of significant impact. And the flip side of that being, if you look at traditional art, there's a lot of environmental damage done in traditional art. When you create the art, you ship the art, you store the art, you know, someone buys it, you ship it across the continents to somebody else who owns it. There's a lot of carbon footprint happening there in traditional art.
Definitely.
I would say more on average per artwork. I would say it's more.
Definitely. And there is also this concept that I recently found as well. The idea that you can take, well, you were talking about the Mona Lisa, and I see now that there are some companies what they are doing is like putting this classic piece of art into NFTs so that you can hold a little bit of property of that. Can you explain a little bit more of
You mean like fractional ownership?
Yeah, that.
Okay. Well, basically you can create any number of NFTs of a given piece. Like I have some pieces that there's 10 of them. You could have it where there's 1,000, which means that everybody who owns one piece owns 1/1000th of that ownership of that piece, right? You can think of it two different ways. You could think of it that there's 1,000 editions with 1,000 owners, or that it's a single piece with it's split fractionally amongst 1,000 owners is another way it can be thought of, right? So it's up to the creator, the person who issues the NFT, to determine that. Most of my work I do as single pieces, one of one pieces. I just like that. I just like the idea of it being that there's only one of it. Of course, someone could in the future go ahead and make a contract that splits up that ownership between people anyway, if they wanted to, right? But I personally like to create it as an individual piece. I am actually doing a collection though. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I'm creating, because I've been doing this zombie thing since I got into NFTs, and it was one of my more popular things. I also do other stuff. I don't just do zombies. I do work with a lot of, I try to do stuff that's beautiful as well. So I have another style I do. I call it cube pop, because it's a mix of cubism and pop art with portraits. And often it's of feminine faces, but sometimes it's just of athletes or celebrities. But what I did is for a collection, I'm doing one. It's actually for Halloween this year. It's
nice.
Going to be, I'm not sure exactly what the number is going to be, but we're aiming for about 10,000 zombies. Okay. And I've hand-drawn all the zombies, and then I've hand-drawn all the accessories. Okay. And these accessories, it's a matter of chance what accessories you get. And of course, some will be more rare than others. So you might get one that has, glasses, or you might get one that has an axe in the side of the head, or you might get one that has, suit. Of course it's a zombie, so the suit's going to not look so great. It's going to be in rough shape. But we're creating this, and with a group behind it, the team behind it that's supporting me with this and basically putting everything together for me on the technical side is the Coin Network. And that's a company that I've been working with over the last few months. Great team. They're early stage. And with them, what's happening that's kind of unique with this one, though, is that these NFTs are called atomic NFTs. Now, I don't know if any of your listeners are familiar with that, but keep it simple. Basically, most NFTs, actually all they are is an image file that's got a token that's attached to it. And the token says, okay, you own this image file. Okay. But the token is actually a separate entity from the image file. With an atomic NFT, the image file itself will be stored on the blockchain permanently, not just the token ID, the actual image file. And so what's interesting about that is when people purchase these zombie atomic NFTs, I'm not sure what the name is. Maybe Atomic Zombies. I haven't decided yet. I don't know. Okay. What'll happen is they can bridge that NFT to the Coin Network. Okay. So they'll buy it and then they can bridge it there. And when they do, that's going to start to reveal the characteristics of the zombie. So it's kind of a mystery, like a loot box idea. What's really interesting with Koi, though, is it depends on the attention that's paid to that image. So if it gets a lot of attention, the image itself can react to that attention. So it might change. Like a hat might appear after it gets so many views. So if it gets, 1,000 views, maybe your zombie will reveal something that another zombie wouldn't reveal. So it's just some very interesting dynamics that they're working on. The way that Koi does it is it's called proof of real traffic. It's basically an anti-spam technology where they analyze the traffic going to any given image on their network, and you get rewarded as the artist for traffic that's driven to those images.
That is insane.
It's pretty wild. So you talk about like interest-bearing assets. This is literally if you're the owner of that image, you will get tokens for people looking at it. So if you happen to have a really cool one, you'll get more tokens from people looking at
it. And you need a coder to do these things, right? Like,
oh yeah, that's out on my realm. I'm drawing zombies. I'm drawing parts. Okay, and yeah, it's up to the technical team there. It's a great bunch of people, and they're working on it. The goal, of course, is to get it out for Halloween. So we'll have a website up soon. I don't know what the timeline of this podcast is in terms of this being released, but
I'm going to release this as soon as possible. Like,
okay,
as soon as I have the render.
I'm really excited about it because I've never done something of this scale before because I couldn't, right? I don't have the technical know-how. I can draw stuff and they're doing all the complicated stuff on the other side of it. So the really compelling part to me is this will be the first like profile pic. It's called a PFP, right? The profile pic collection that will be atomic NFTs. This will be the first of that nature, like ever. So that's pretty wild, where the actual images will react based on the attention they get. So it won't be just a static image that's just done the way it is. It can potentially change over time. Not all of them will, of course, right? Only some of them will, depending on their rarity.
Again, this is like that feeling, the possibilities of it, and the thing that this is just beginning, and now that you're telling me that this, okay, yeah, we can do that. That's just insane.
It is insane. Yeah. The coolest part to me is you can move that NFT around. Like, it'll be dynamic on Koi, like it'll get attention-based tokens. Now, if you shipped it back over to somewhere else, of course, then it doesn't have that attention-based element to it. So that's going to be the motivation to bring it over to the Koi network, right? So that's the whole appeal of it, is to make it so it is dynamic.
And something that I was thinking about is that I watch a lot what the creative industry in Japan does, because I'm a weeb, like I like anime, and I've seen like I do think they have problems in the animation industry over there on how they manage things.
Okay.
And when I saw NFTs, I felt like, wow, like this could bring a lot of solutions to that. So, for example, the idea that I had in mind, and I think it is possible, is that, well, in Japan, they usually try to measure the success of a series based on the sales of Blu-rays and DVDs. And the thing is that they have this, because nobody's like, there is a lot of people who are not buying disc anymore because we have streaming, right?
Sure.
Obviously, just the biggest fans are buying that. And so, for example, I seen that 500 sales or something like that is like meh, mediocre, something like that. But 600 to 900 sales are like a good thing, and that could bring the people to say, okay, let's do season 2, right, of a series. And 1,000 to 1,300 sales, that's like really good. 2,000 is like, wow, like massive success. And whenever they blow up the sales beyond those numbers. That's insane to them. Like that's massive success. But if you think when it comes to sales in the internet, and especially now seeing the the craziness of all like again, Megaverse had like 8,888 megas, and they sold like in 2 days.
Right.
And so when you put it that way, it's like thinking, I was thinking, okay, so what if we put the disc models into the NFT model, and that people can buy the digital version of the, and having that token to this thing like, hey, we have made, I don't know, this much Blu-rays, and there will be this much special editions, like 100 special editions with extra illustrations from the creators. And now with the smart contracts, we can put like, okay, the main creator of this anime, of this history, they're going to get like a percentage of all the sales from that, and we can distribute it to all the people involved, right?
Well, I think that's the key point that you make there. That's really important for people to understand, is that NFTs open up a source of revenue for the creators that was normally they get this little bit here, and the company that they're working with gets this much of the share, right? Whereas now, I've talked to a lot of people who work with, animation companies and so forth, but they're making NFTs on their own time, and they're getting all the revenue from it. They're not getting just this little percentage, right? And so it opens up that ability to sell directly to your fans, right? Because you can just create the work yourself and sell it directly to them, rather than being kind of having to be under the umbrella of some huge company or whatever, right? So like when I'm making NFTs, I just make whatever I feel like making. And if someone likes it, awesome, right? And then I sell it, right? Or I don't sell it, right? I mean, it's not like I have sold all of my NFTs. I have plenty that I never sold. But there's a lot of freedom to it for creators, as opposed to having to go through some big agency of some sort or company of some sort that allows you to have this little percentage of the work.
Exactly. And the thing is that I see that the people who enjoy the series and these creations, like they usually want to support the creators. Like that's their number one priority. Like they wish that money will go to the creator. So I do think that, yeah, sure, there is a streaming and there is a lot of people who wouldn't buy Blu-rays and DVDs and things like that. But if you have like this thing announced like, hey, each sale of this is like the creator is going to profit, and each time you sell this NFT to another person, like I don't know.
Well, and it's collectible, right?
Yeah, and imagine, and this is the other effect that I don't think creators have thought through, which is like the special editions. They tend to go up in price as time goes by, and the thing is that you can, thanks to the NFT system, you can measure that like the stock market. So these pieces can go up in price, and you can see how much they are going in price. And obviously they can become collector editions. For example, Demon Slayer, who has become like #1 success of all time in the anime industry. If they had like 100 special editions of the Blu-ray, the movie in NFTs, like those special editions will go up in price really fast. And each time somebody will buy this special edition that at a higher price, like the creator will still be getting paid for that.
Right.
And let's say we can put like all the animators who work into this movie into some sort, okay, you will have like this share, so this amount of number of NFTs, and every time somebody is selling that thing, you're going to get paid as well. So everybody involved can get a part of it.
Totally,
everybody wins. And
well, yeah, like I created a piece a while ago on Known Origin is one of the platforms I'm on. And I created, it was one of my first ones that I did with this cube pop style I was talking about. And it was a picture of LeBron James. It's just called LeBron. And I sold it. I was really happy. It was about $1,000, which is great, right? Like wow, right? About 2 weeks later, someone bought it on the secondary market for $8,000. Now, somebody might say, "Oh man, you missed out. You could have made $8,000." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I made royalties, right?" When that second sale happened, I just automatically, because of the smart contract, got a 10% royalty sent to me. And they're like, "Yeah, but that's not as much as that second buyer." I'm like, "No, you have to think longer term, right?" Because now that person who has it, maybe they're going to sell it. And I'm going to get 10% again into perpetuity. I can hand that blockchain wallet down to my kids and they could be making royalties from it. Like, the royalties thing is such a huge element for creators that they've never enjoyed in the past like this, because if you make a painting and you sell it, that's over with. You're not getting any kind of royalties from that, right? Now you can. The other thing you were mentioning is about collectibles. Now, say you do have that rare special edition Blu-ray, right? You have it in your house somewhere, right? And maybe your friends come over and you go, "Hey, check it out. I got this special edition Blu-ray," right? But if it's an NFT, it's not just, 2 or 3 friends coming over your house that can see that you have this, right? The entire world can see, "Check it out. I have this really rare, cool thing," right? It's just the scale is so huge. It's global, right? Not only as a creator, but as a consumer. I can sell my work or buy works from anyone, anywhere in the world. It's just such a huge expansion of that market.
Especially if you take into the account that dynamic that you just talked to, that you're creating at this moment. Like, yeah, you can show the world, and you can you can get benefits and tokens and more. Like, you can win more from just the people seeing it.
Well, and there's, collecting is a human behavior.
Yes.
Right? We collect. Some people collect things that others look at and go, "Why would you collect that?" And they can't think of the good reason for it. But for that person, there's a good reason. For one person, it might be comics. My grandparents were Dutch. They collected spoons. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a Dutch thing. People collect like spoons from different places in the world. And you might go, "Why do you do that?" But they had some kind of connection to the place that they were, where they'd buy this spoon, and they would keep it as like a memento, right? Is there a logical reason to buy spoons? No. Is there a logical reason why they should have some kind of monetary value as a collectible? Well, there is, if people agree that there is, right? The value of a collectible is just purely dependent upon the person who holds it and the person who wants to buy it. And that's what gives it value. So NFTs are no different. They're just a different way that people can collect, but they're a much more visible way that you can show your collection, because literally anyone in the world can see it.
And how do you think it's going to impact the crowdfunding industry? Because I don't think it's being used that way right now. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But
Sorry, which industry did you say?
the crowdfunding, like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Patreon, things like that. I don't think, at least I haven't found any project that is being used that way at the moment. But the way I'm thinking is like these dynamics can definitely replace that, and
Or at least work
now,
alongside it. I mean, maybe eventually
Yeah.
it does replace it, but it's another avenue, right? Like
Yeah.
you talk about the special editions. Not everybody's going to want a special edition.
Yeah.
Some people will be happy with streaming, right? And some people, like with music as well, right? There is music you can buy that's an NFT, but it's a limited edition. Maybe it's unique in some way, right? Most people are just going to stream it like on Spotify or whatever, right? But the real fans will be able to collect that piece of whatever history it is of that particular artist. So I think it's just another avenue. And yeah, I mean, there's no logic to collecting. I mean, maybe it comes from our survival instinct to gather things and accumulate things.
Possibly. And there is something that I'm seeing right now as well, is that these scams in the crypto world, they are becoming like really good. like incredibly good. I think that people have to have be careful a little bit about that, because it
Mm-hmm.
is amazing about what you say, that yeah, you have the power, like there is no middleman, there's nobody controlling it, that this is something we have been talking about the benefits of this, that okay, yeah, I can keep collecting this fees from into eternity, and give this to my kids and my kids to my grandkids, but at the same time, uh, since everything falls into you, like if you make a mistake, and I saw this case of a girl that was posting it on Twitter
Mm-hmm.
because she was warning it to other people. Now, it was just, she wasn't a noob. She has been into NFTs and crypto since 2007, but
Mm-hmm.
that day she was tired. Apparently, I don't know what happened in that day, but she was mentally tired. She got like a notification from the Mechaverse collection in Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and click it, and pretty much sync her MetaMask wallet, and 16
Uh,
CryptoPunks were stolen, and some Ethereum as well. So she lost about $6 million from that one mistake. Uh,
wow.
and again, like this is, I think, the part that we also need to be talking about. That yes, you have everything, you have full control of everything, but at the same time, that means that if you make one mistake, that's enough to
Mm-hmm.
to make like a huge mistake.
I think we'll see innovations there. I think we'll see custody services in the future. You know, like there's no way banks aren't getting in on all this stuff,
Yeah,
right? You know, so it's only a matter of time, and I'm not, I think, banks have a use. Like I think a lot of the things they've done are, corrupt, but
yeah,
they do have a purpose, right? Like, before banks, what did you do with your money? You stuck it under a mattress, right? Kind of thing, right? And, I do expect there will be custody services where you would entrust these things to be stored safely, and maybe they'd be insured. Like you could talk about hardware wallets. Hardware wallets are important. They're good to have. It's good to have a hardware wallet, but some of those scams will not protect you even if you have a hardware wallet, because you're giving over your information that they can then access that anyway. So a lot of the scams are social engineering. They're basically tricking you into trusting them,
that
right?
might here.
Right? Yeah, it's good. Problem being, of course, when you do have a hardware wallet, it can sometimes give you a false sense of security, because you can feel like, oh, well, this is totally safe. But if you give up your seed phrase, it doesn't matter, right? If you do the little permission on your wallet for and approve, a transaction, and you don't understand what that transaction is, the money's still gone, right? Like, so there are tricks that happen even with you have a hardware wallet that you need to be really savvy. Discord's probably one of the biggest ones where you can get private messages in it, and they can make it look like there's some support team or they're there to help you, and they're very good at tricking you. I get messages all the time on Instagram and stuff. Hey, we'd like to commission you to do blah blah blah, and then it's all a trick to get you to give over your information. It is, yeah, it's a big problem. It is a big problem.
Yeah, because right now, at this moment, as I understand, there is no service or something that you can use so that you can pretty much ask for a refund from that, or a
Right.
rollback the
No, there
transaction.
is there is no such thing. And I mean, ultimately, you wouldn't be able to get a refund necessarily, but if there were, say, and I'm sure there's companies working on this that I'm just not aware of. If you were to say entrust your custody of, let's say, your crypto to a bank of some sort, right? And they could insure it, you would at least recover a portion of it through the insurance, right? So obviously the actual crypto that you had lost would be gone, right? If the bank lost it.
Yeah, the thing
But
that I like about the crypto, and especially the smart contracts, is that uh, you can set it up. So, for example, if the bank is working, it works eventually with integrating these things.
mm-hmm,
Like they will behave the way they have to behave, right? So that they for example, if the government were to use Bitcoin or the banks were to integrate Bitcoin, they cannot print more Bitcoin.
Right. They can print derivatives and they can do stuff to manipulate things, but they can't make more Bitcoin.
Exactly. So that's the thing that it makes me a little bit more hopeful, because even if they do integrate it eventually, and I think they will, or they will be the next blockbusters.
They have to
in the future.
They can't avoid it. Yeah.
JP Morgan just came out a couple of days saying that they believe that Bitcoin is a better bet to fight inflation than even gold, and that they are working now to integrate the services. We don't know what the services will be, but they are working now to integrate into some services.
And this JP Morgan is the same people that were saying it was all a fraud in 2017.
Yeah,
so
exactly. But again, like, this is not some YouTuber or something like this is the number one biggest bank in the US who was saying.
Yeah.
I saw there that also there was a bank in France. I don't remember the name, Comisse or something. But they pretty much did a loan of $20 million. The deal was that they were going to be paid back in crypto. And it was like the very first transaction in the DeFi protocol, which I won't go into that world into this episode because it's explaining a lot more. But again, like, the banks are starting to see like, we better get on this thing or we're going to be out of business soon.
I think there's a lot going on there that they haven't said too, right? I mean, there's no way that they are just leaving it and hoping it goes away. It's obvious. It's
no, at this point, I don't think, I don't think anybody believes that it's going to go away.
I mean, look at El Salvador, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's only a matter of time that, 4, 5, 6 other countries go, oh, okay, we should do that too.
Well, yeah, Ukraine already made it legal. So
where's that?
Ukraine?
Ukraine did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ukraine did. And Brazil apparently is thinking hard about it. So we'll see some news soon. Hopefully they are good ones.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you talking about, when you say legal, you mean like it's not legal tender though, like it is in El Salvador, right?
I think they are thinking about it.
In Ukraine or in Brazil?
No, in Ukraine they already did it.
It's legal tender.
Yeah.
Really? I did not know that. Huh.
It came out, like, the news came out like a couple of days after El Salvador. But
did it? I totally missed that.
Yeah.
Wild.
And now Brazil is thinking of doing the same.
Okay. Brazil, that's huge. I mean.
Yeah. My country is like very small portion in the population.
Which country is that?
El Salvador.
Okay.
Although I was in crypto before that happened, so.
Okay.
For me.
So are you in El Salvador now?
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. What's that been like in terms of your experience? I mean, it's all using Lightning Network wallet, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that the president, like, I like the idea, but again, I think the execution was a little bit messy, because
I would guess
the way he sold it to the people, the idea, it wasn't the best idea. Like, there is a lot of people over here who do not have like smartphones or anything like that, who are like new when it comes to technology, and initially he was like trying to put it like mandatory that everybody, like absolutely everybody, had to use that. So that got like a bit of a negative reaction, was not saying a lot.
I would guess so.
And again, there is a lot of people who were saying like there were other problems that were more important, although they didn't understand that, for example, if the predictions come true that the Bitcoin comes to be worth 100K or more at the end of this year, then whatever he put up when it was 40,000 is going to be double.
Yeah, I've been saying that for about 2 years now, that by the end of this year, by the end of 2021, that would be over 100K. So I'll be very proud if I'm right, because that was a long-term guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of people believe that it's happened. And seeing all the good news worldwide that has been happening in Bitcoin, I do think we're going to be seeing it. And the bullish one says that it's going to go to 200K, but who knows?
Who knows, right? I made a $10 bet with my son. I said it's going to be over 100K by the end of the year. And he's like, no, I'll bet you $10. I'm like, $10. What do I care if it's over 100K, you know? So, so
Yeah, I do think it's going to happen that way. So the way I see it is like, look, if we put like a lot, and he made like a $205 million a loan, and those $205 million he wants to put it all into Bitcoin.
oh wow.
But he hasn't done it yet because he wants. I think he's waiting for that big win, so that he can show the people like, hey, we just invested like $22 million, and now that money has become double of that or more than double of that.
You got to buy the dip though. You can't wait. You can't wait until it goes up.
I'm like, from my point of view, it's like, what the fuck are you waiting for? Like, just put the 200 millions now.
I expect another crash yet though. I expect a crash in November sometime. Maybe late October.
Yeah.
I think there will be one.
Right now he has announced that he's going
Not
to...
financial advice.
Yeah, definitely. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
Do your research, talk to whoever you want to talk to before you use the money. But now he has announced that because through the earnings he has made already through Bitcoin, he's going to be building a veterinary hospital that is public and it will be the first one into this country. Again, people are reacting negatively and kind of with reason, because it's like there are other needs that are
Right.
more urgent.
Sure.
But again, well, let's leave that aside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that now Bitcoin is starting to like get to the other point, because people have realized that, oh shit, like I can, like when Bitcoin is high, I can use this app that they have given me,
Right.
convert it into dollars, and then when it comes down, put it into Bitcoin, and then when it comes up.
So let me ask you though, are there people actually
Yes.
buying stuff at stores with their Bitcoin? Because that to me would be like, a lot of people would rather not spend it, right?
At the beginning, there were many, because they
Okay.
were just like, it's $30, I'm going to buy whatever.
Right.
And so there were a lot of people who went to the ATMs and got the $30
Took out $30.
Yeah, and that was it.
And they're done with it.
There were many other people who just went to have some dinner or something like that and pay with it. So there was a lot of that at the beginning. The first weeks, like everybody just wanted to waste those $30.
Okay.
I think that most of the people are like thinking, I made a mistake.
Well, what's like the average like income of a person in El Salvador? Like
About
what's $30 to a person in El Salvador?
The average income will be about $300 to $400. Like if you have an income of...
So $30 is a good chunk of money then.
Yeah, for many it is. And I know people now who are doing like spending 2 hours a day, like seeing the markets go up and down and doing that swap, and they are getting extra $100 a week.
Okay.
So that's huge.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot for them.
Well, and see, that's the thing about it, like back to NFTs, is it's a global market, right? Like, you know, I know of people who live in India or in other parts of the world where, you know, if you're selling an artwork for like $1,000, like that's enough to live for quite a while, right? So for creators who want to get into it and give it a shot, like, who knows? Like you could have some success and it could be a really good source of income, right? Like I admit myself, I was so obsessed with it. I was drawing like 2-3 hours a day anyway after work. So why not make NFTs, right? Like that's the other part of it, is if you're not enjoying it, it's probably not going to be, you know, successful, right? Yeah. You know, it has to be something that you really enjoy doing, right? But that's probably true for anybody with any job, right?
Definitely.
So it opens up a lot of opportunities for people in markets that, because now you have access to buyers who have a lot of money, frankly.
Yeah, and again, like what you say, there is this change of what it means, like getting those extra $200 to every, like El Salvador has become like really expensive to live. But if you go to, like, say, for example, to Guatemala, like right next to us, that's a very cheap place to live. Like $100 over there, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Okay.
Like $100 over here, yeah, it's a lot for a lot of people, but it's not going to be as much as it is in Guatemala or Honduras or Nicaragua or things
But
like
if
that.
you're going there with your Bitcoin wallet and you go to Guatemala, are you going to find people there that are going to accept that?
No, but again, like this thing allows you to put it into dollars, then you take out the dollars,
Okay.
and when you change those dollars to, uh, I don't remember the name of the coin in Guatemala, but when you change that, let's say it's pesos,
Sure.
somebody's going to murder me with it because
Just say the currency in
yeah,
Guatemala.
yeah, I forgot. Sorry, I know. So somewhere in my brain there's the name, but I forgot right
Should
now.
I look it up a second?
Quetzales, I think it is.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Quetzz.
Quetzales.
Quetzal?
Yeah, Quetzal. So when you change that dollar to Quetzales, then
Okay.
that's a lot. That you get a lot, man.
Okay. See, I would fight that urge to cash it in though, knowing that it's probably going to double or triple over the next year or two, maybe
Yeah,
sooner,
exactly.
maybe by the end of this year. I guarantee you the U.S. dollar is not doubling in value
Yeah.
in the next year. Maybe going half in value,
Yeah, definitely.
maybe losing half its value, but it's not doubling in value.
Yeah, that's the main reason that I decided. I think that's a reason that many people jump into crypto right now. It's like because they were seeing how good the dollar was doing, and they were like,
Yeah, inflation is nuts right now.
yeah, like
Yeah.
there was this argument. I know some people from Argentina who are deep into Bitcoin. Everybody, is informed about fluctuations in prices and how unstable it is. And the Argentinian people that say like, I'm used to volatility. Like I'm never
Yeah.
going to do this. Just that my coin does this. Coin
Exactly.
does that. I'm
Yes,
rather going to that direction.
totally. Well, that's the thing we take for granted in North America is we look at something like Bitcoin and we go, oh, it's so volatile compared to the dollar. But it's like, yeah, but in a lot of parts of the world, that currency is, the local currencies are way more volatile or they collapse to nothing sometimes, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
In Latin America, there is a lot of people right now jumping into the Axie Infinity game and actually making a living out of that.
right, right.
So there's that. But yeah, I do think this for to me this world is just insane, and to think that it's just starting. I cannot imagine how things will like once we start mixing this thing up with virtual reality and the headsets become lighter and more people can use it. Like, man, things are
I
going
would
to
say
go.
like for your listeners, if a lot of them are, going, this is way too expensive. I can't create on Ethereum because it is expensive. Like, for example, I haven't been minting anything for the past week because just to mint a single or NFT on Ethereum right now is between $50 and $100 US just to mint a piece. I mean, I'm not guaranteed to sell it. Okay. Well, that's a lot of money for the average person anywhere, but especially in some countries, right? But if you do look at alternatives, like for example, one of the more affordable alternatives is Tezos. You could be a creator on the Tezos blockchain, Tezos, and there's a marketplace there called Hic et Nunc that a creator could create on there. Hic et Nunc, it's kind of a Latin word. I think it means here and now.
I think there's also the Solana network now,
Solana, yeah,
solarts.io,
yeah.
and what
Well,
was
and I should plug the
Coffee
Coin
dot-
Network too. The Coin Network, KOII.network. If you go there, you can get a wallet for free, and there's a free faucet. You can get free Koi tokens, and you can mint your work there. They're just new though. There's not even really a real marketplace yet. That's all being built still. But
yeah,
there's
once
lots
the
of
Cardano
opportunities.
and the Cardano environment is being developed right now, that's going to come up. That's probably going
Yeah.
to be free as well. And
Yeah.
there is the Immutable X project. I don't know if you have seen it, but that's pretty much using Ethereum, but it's not doing any gas fees, and
Right. It's on
also
another layer.
it's being like uh, instant instant transaction. So that's another option as well.
Yeah, and I think that'll happen over time. Like if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they'll be the base layers, right? But then you'll have all this stuff running on top of them that runs for much cheaper, right? And the speed of texting somebody. So
yeah, and the Immutable X technology, TikTok has made a partnership with them. So the NFT
is that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the NFTs, they are going to have, TikTok wants to have their own NFT environment, and it's going to be based on that technology. And also, it appears, I saw the news over there, that, what is the, OpenSea has made as well a partnership with Immutable X, so they are going to add their network as well, so people can use OpenSea and use the Immutable X network, and that way they don't have to pay gas fees. So I'm really looking into that token, man. Like the day IMX comes up in public, I want to go all in on that because I think that's going to explode.
If TikTok's on it, that's a pretty major endorsement.
Yeah, definitely.
See, that's the funny thing is I don't actually keep up with the crypto news like I used to because I'm too busy drawing stuff. So I don't. It used to be that I would be looking at this news every day, but now I don't as much.
Yeah, right now I'm in the phase of learning, so I'm devouring everything, and I read really fast, like really fast for much people. Like I'm reading, I can read about 1,200 words per minute. So for example, so
that's very
just in this year, I have read 63 books, and that's non-related to crypto. And now I'm thinking like, man, I need to read faster because
I can't get it all in time.
Yeah, I can't get it all in. Like there is so much. I want to learn so much, and there's not enough time to do it.
So you're really in that rabbit hole.
Yes, cool. I'm deep right now.
Yeah. It is really fun.
Definitely. It is.
Yeah.
So is there anything else? It's been an hour already. So is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you would like to mention before we end the interview?
I think, you know what? I think it's a good time if you are a creator who's contemplating getting into this stuff to start looking into it. There's great places you can go to learn about it. One of them that I like is a person who I had on my podcast. She has a website, NFT Ignition is her name. She has a website called nftbasics.com. And, you know, I was thinking of doing something myself like that, but then I saw hers and I'm like, why? Like it would just be redundant. She's covered everything. So it's a good website as a source of information. Plugging myself, you know, I'm an artist on Known Origin. If you look for DKleine on Known Origin, I'd love to have more people looking at my work there. But you can start places like, you know, OpenSea is great if you want to dabble with it. On OpenSea, you can create an account, which costs a bit of money to do. I think it's between $50 and $100. But then after that, once you've minted your first piece, you can mint as many as you want for free with their lazy minting system. So that's another way you can do it that's not too costly.
Nice. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this develops because I think the next few years are going to be key for everybody who is serious about being an artist and living from their own art. And I do believe that the people who go deep into this and understand this environment in the next 2 years will have a huge advantage over everybody else who doesn't know about this in the next 10 to 15 years. And just as a little note, just to close this, I've seen that the number of people who are into Bitcoin and, well, in crypto in general is around 100 million people right now in the world. There is 7.9 billion people in the planet. That means this is just and just users in Bitcoin, that's 100 million. So that's 1.26% of the world population.
And is that assuming that every address is a unique user? Because
I
know a lot of crypto who have like 20 addresses.
No. That's like that's the unique users in Bitcoin right now.
Okay.
Who are holders in Bitcoin. So the thing is,
so it might be less than that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it possibly is less than that. So the thing is that this is if this number is real and this is just unique people, that is still 1.26% of humanity. And most of people who know about Ethereum and Bitcoin and are investing in these coins, most of them still don't know anything about NFTs,
Right.
let alone crypto gaming. So that the percentage of people who are active in NFTs, as intense as this is seen right now, as it looks right now, and active as it looks right now, the number of people who are into this is very, very, very small.
Very small. Yes.
So the people who are getting into it right now and understand it and start using it will have like an exponential growth and an exponential advantage over everybody who does it. It's still early.
It's still early. Yep. A lot of people feel like, oh, look, Ethereum's like, $3,000 or whatever. It's too late. It's not too late because you can buy a little bit. You can buy $100 worth, $50 worth, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to start with like $50,000 or something crazy. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat.
Yeah, no problem. I was looking even into the predictions that Fidelity Investments made about Bitcoin. And for those who do not know, Fidelity Investments is like this number 2 biggest investment firm in the US. They handle $4.7 trillion in assets. So it's not small. And they did a presentation to their clients, and the map that they have gotten using the model of stock to flow, that is a model for analyzing Bitcoin, is that they think that Bitcoin will get to 100 million this year.
100 million?
Sorry, 100,000
okay.
this year. Then 1 million for the bull run in 2025. So every 4 to 5 years there is a bull run. So just so you know. And then 10 millions for the 2030 and 100 millions for 2035.
Well, I mean, that's a ways out, but wow.
Yeah, and the reason why they believe that is because of the number of users there are right now, because they are comparing the growth curve, the growth curve of technology compared to the other ones, like how much time did it took to Facebook to get a lot of users, and the internet and fax machines and VHAs and all that stuff. Right? So it seems that crypto and Bitcoin is like the fastest technology being adopted by all people.
Yep.
And the users are being they're becoming the double number every year. So usually the curve follows like an S, where it slows down at the middle and then it keeps going up. And for the first slowdown, I think they are planning it for 2038. So if this is the price of Bitcoin right now with 100 million users, which is 1.26% of the population, imagine what it's going to be with 4 billion users in...
And there only ever will be 21 million Bitcoin, right, in the world.
Probably
so.
less. Considering
there's already plenty that are gone,
Yeah, there's a lot of people who drop out who forgot their password, who dropped their hard drive and forgot that they had their wallet there. Like,
totally. Yeah.
Very sad cases.
Yep.
But still, you're early. The point is, you're early. And if that model is true, that means that for every $50 that people put right now into Bitcoin, they will be getting more than $87,000 by 2035.
See, and for a lot of people, that just sounds too far away. Do you know what I mean? Like most people.
For me, that's my retirement plan.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. For me, that's my retirement plan, because retirement in El Salvador starts. And I never...
Yeah. Okay.
I pretty much went into entrepreneurship because I wanted to secure my retirement.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Anything else.
For sure. That's awesome.
But it's been a pleasure having you, DKleine. Man, this is crazy. And I really, really thank you that you took some time. I know that you're very busy. And I really thank you that you took some time to explain to us what NFTs are, how it's been implemented, and pretty much clearing a lot of our doubts right now.
Thank you very much. It was really fun talking with you.
Okay, so if people want to follow you, where will be the best place to do so?
My main place that I promote my work on is Twitter. So on there I'm at _ DKleine, and DKleine is spelled DKleine. So that'd be the main place to follow me. You can also find me on OpenSea and Known Origin and Rarible Foundation. Mostly I meant my work on Known Origin. And I'm also working with Coin Network now.
Got it. I will put all the links into the description of this interview below. And
Awesome.
Yeah, make sure that you go directly to those links because, again, there are a lot of people impersonating others. The scams are really good right now in social media. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not big enough to have the blue check mark on Twitter yet. So
Yeah, so I will put the official links in the below this interview. Thanks a lot again, DKleine, for being here. So this has been the last episode of the Creative Hustler Show. If you liked it, please click the like button below. Or if you're hearing this in the podcast, then subscribe to our podcast so you can be notified when the next episode comes up. Until next time.